Hello again, partners. Here we are at report number 70. And my writer and researcher, Dennis Daly, tells me he's come up with one of the most unusual reports of the series. As you know, we've talked a lot about little-known American patriots who did make a difference. Well, in this report, Dennis goes back in time to the American frontier. The man we're highlighting was named Amory Kinney. He was born in Canada, but moved to the Indiana Territory just after the War of 1812. He quickly adopted his new country and vowed to be a good American, and boy was he. 4 years after Amory Kinney moved to the Indiana Territory, a constitution was written for the frontier area, and in 1816, Indiana became the 19th state. Jimmy, this is beginning to sound like a history lesson. Hope there isn't going to be a quiz. No, there won't be a quiz. But you're going to learn just what Amory Kinney did to change American history. Okay, after Indiana became a state, Kinney learned there were lots of slave owners in Indiana before Indiana attained statehood. Kinney and the others didn't want slavery in the Constitution, so now Indiana was a free state with slaves and no one was even saying anything about it. So old Amory Kinney, I suppose, is going to step in and clear up the situation? That's right. And what he did has been lost in history. Okay, explain it. Thank you very much. I will. Kinney, as I mentioned, had just become an American and thought the best way to straighten up the problem was to use the American court system. What? That's right. Use our American court system. So what did he do? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now sit still for this. Kinney went to Vincennes, Indiana, the old capital of the Northwest Territory. You remember that was the city where Dennis Daly was doing news on the air for a decade. Well, Kinney got a high-priced lawyer to bring the case to court to answer the question. Now, the problem was Kinney didn't have a clue as to what kind of case to bring to the court. He just had to come up with something. He had to do something. Well, then he came up with an idea. He found the L.A. Sally family, S-A-L-L-E, L.A. La Salle family, we'll call it that, was the richest and best known in Vincennes. They had a young black woman named Polly as their personal slave. So here's where it gets good, partners. Without contacting the LaSalle family or Polly, Kinney went to court and filed papers to free Polly. Boy, was the LaSalle family shocked. And so was Polly. She didn't know all this was going to happen. So, Jimmy, did the case make it to court? Did it? It made it all the way to the Indiana Supreme Court, who ruled that Polly was free, and all of the other slaves in Indiana were freed as well. This became the classic American court case that pushed for the end of slavery. Listen, Polly versus LaSalle is remembered as one of the most important cases in the history of civil rights in this country, America. And were it not for the man whom time has forgotten, Amory Kinney, it might never have happened. Well, I thought during Black History Month is so near to Dr. Martin Luther King Day, Dennis and I thought this might be a great story to remember. So let's say his name again. Amory Kinney, a Canadian immigrant who walked into an Indiana court and filed papers that literally changed history. Okay, partners, you know the drill. Look up there at the right side. There are those 3 boxes over at the far side. has the big red X in it. It's the last one. Click that one and nothing else, and you'll magically return to the report page for the rest of this week's comments. Wow, another great story, proving any man or woman can change things with an incredible idea. And this week's honoree, Amory Kinney, was just such a person. It's sad that law students remember the case of Polly versus LaSalle, but don't even remember the little man who went to the court and made it all happen. Amory Kinney, a man who made a difference. Hey, thank you so much for your prayers for Dennis. He's doing so great. He's getting back to his old self again. And my special thanks go to all of you partners who've been so helpful with your tax-free contributions to our little foundation listed below. God's blessed me in so many ways. Be sure and call the teachers and principals of the schools in your area and ask them to contact me about coming to their history and civic classes and telling my version of special stories of America, which they no longer teach in school today. I love getting hugs from the students, and we always hold hands in a circle, closing our sessions with prayer for one another and our leaders in Washington. God bless you. Hey, listen, our country's going through something pretty bad right now, and I'll hit that next week. But I love telling these stories on our videos. You know that. I love you. Go get 'em, Tigers!